Okay. Hello, everybody. It's me, Man of Lawful. If you watch any of my videos before, you've seen this. You know who I am, Man of Lawful. Uh, this video is about if you read the title, this is about the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. My personal opinions on it, playing the game, playing the small part of the story mode I played before I got hit with the server issues that they were having. Um, and then I'm going to talk about at the end a couple of theories I have that makes me think I don't. It makes me think that this game became what it is, but they weren't planning for the game to be what it is. This game was going to be something else entirely. Before that, one life update. I got a PS5, so now I'm playing on two current gen consoles now instead of one current gen and one last gen. Playing current gen consoles now on both from both companies. So that's good. Uh now on to what this is about. My personal my personal experience with what little bit I played of the story is that this it wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. I in the beginning it's like you played the game. I was playing Deadshot at this part of the game. At this part of the game I'm playing Deadshot. I'm running down. It's like I'm flying through the city, like flying through the city, shooting aliens, freeing up parts of this city, blowing up those turrets they had, and it's like, and this is all before they get to the Hall of Justice, and they get their costumes that they have in the game. This is before that because I got hit with the server. I got hit with the server issue like right as I got that mission. We lose the Flash. Batman gets the Flash, and then we get the call from Mars saying come back to the Hall of Justice. And I got that mission. I'm headed back to the Hall of Justice, and I get hit with the server issue. What?
Remember the code?
What? What? Mom's pin number?
Yeah, for the food stamp card. 3550?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
God damn it! I hit the fucking thing. I get to, I get to that mission. I hit the, I hit the damn server issue. I haven't picked up the game since. Partially because I didn't know if the game was still having server issues, but also I let my nephew borrow my controller a while ago and I haven't gotten it back, which I'm still waiting on my controller to come back. It's gonna be a while. Now, as I was saying, I as I was saying, I as my experience with the game, I was having fun up until that server issue, like shooting stuff, flying around the city. It was fun. And I'm like, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like it can't get worse. I mean, if you take this and then build upon this, which I know the game does, how's it get worse? How's it gonna get bad? And then I also know that the live service shit is coming. They're going, yeah, you're going. It's the live service thing that's gonna happen. Ugh, okay, so and then looking at, and then again, like looking at this, I'm like, doesn't this game becoming live service doesn't fit. Like something's off. Something's wrong here. It doesn't fit. And the reason, and then that's, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna save that for the end. Before we get into it, let's talk about the character. I thought the now you look at the story mode of this game. You look at the story mode. You look at the cutscenes. You listen to the voice actors. This game, that story mode had so much love put into it. They put everything they had into making, and they put everything they had into making the game look good. All of it. It's like the cutscenes were great. The voice acting is perfect in my opinion. Um they put, again, like they put so much work, so much love into it. And it's like, and then again, knowing this becomes a live service game, it's like you don't put that much love into a live service game, especially if it's like a cash grab. You don't put this much work into this. You don't put this much work and effort and love into a live service game. You know, it's like it was weird. It's like it's weird to think that this became a live service game. Um, let's talk about, okay. Again, I'm kind of jumping ahead. Let's talk about. I want to talk about the characters. Deadshot. Now remember, now if you played the Arkham games, we saw Deadshot. We saw Deadshot in we saw Deadshot in Arkham City, and I believe he's also in. I also believe. I think Deadshot might also be in Arkham Knight. I am not sure about that. He did, and then like in the beginning of the game, Captain Boomerang says like, as Deadshot, isn't he supposed to be white? And then it turns out that there are two Deadshots in this universe. There's the black Deadshot, which is in this game, and then another guy calling himself Deadshot, who's the white guy. Apparently, according to this Deadshot, that guy is an imposter. He's not the real Deadshot. Which he does make a comment, which Deadshot will make a comment, does make a comment on. If you go through the after you lose the Flash at the Batman experience, you can actually turn on the Batman experience. You can actually turn on the Batman experience and then basically recap recap all of the events. You can recap all of the events from the Arkham trilogy. Like all three of those games. Uh, they do not, however, mention Arkham Origins. Yeah, I wonder why. You know, they yeah, and then they get to Deadshot. They get and you get to like the Deadshot, and then if you're playing Deadshot, he looks at that picture and he goes, that steampunk looking dumbass. After I get out of this, I'm coming after him. So apparently that dead shot, not the real dead shot, and the real dead shot's pissed off that that guy's out there using his name. Um, Deadshot, cool character. Each character, each character in the each member of the Suicide Squad has beef with like one of the Justice League members that you're going to fight. You know, Harley Quinn obviously has beef with Batman for obvious reasons. Deadshot has beef with Green Lantern because because in this universe, Green Lantern sent him to Arkham, which which you can see, which you can see him getting arrested by Green Lantern if you when you're first in the Hall of Justice and you look at all the displays, you see Green Lantern arresting Deadshot in the Hall of Justice. So that was pretty. So I was like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Like, that was interesting. Captain Boomerang obviously has beef with the Flash, and I believe King Shark has beef with Superman. Maybe that I'm not 100% sure on because I'm pretty sure like King Shark and Superman don't interact that much in the comics. Then again, I could be wrong. I haven't read. I'm a fan of DC stuff, but I haven't read a DC comic in like 5 years, so I could not tell you what's who interacts with who. Um, yeah, he. So again, like Deadshot as a character, he's pretty cool. Captain Boomerang, again as a character, he is exactly how I would imagine Captain Boomerang to be. Um, the one aspect of Captain Boomerang that they're not touching anymore is the fact that that character is supposed to be racist. They have not. They I think that may have gotten written out of his personality because he doesn't act like he's a racist. Yeah, especially like being for like a white guy who has to be on a team with a black guy, you definitely would have seen. And like if he was still being written as racist that would be on full display between him and Deadshot. It's not there. I'm not complaining about it not being there. I'm just saying like they obviously decided to stop writing that. So that's that's actually cool. That's actually cool. Um, they also Harley Quinn and King Shark, I thought were both good characters. I'm not 100% sure that that's the same actress playing Harley Quinn. Again, I don't know who was playing her in the Arkham games. It might be someone completely different. I'm not sure. King Shark, I know, is played by Samoa Joe, and then I they I'm pretty sure. I think they they did some audio trickery with his voice to make him to make him uh to make him sound more like a shark. You know, make him sound more like a humanoid talking shark. Because I don't think Samoa Joe is able to make his voice sound like that naturally. So that's cool. So I'm like, okay, that's cool because like he's not gonna like you probably can't you probably can't make a human make their voice sound like that. That's fine. Um, yeah, it's like pretty cool. And then Amanda Waller, who's played by Deborah Wilson, seeing her in another game, that's pretty cool because the last game I saw her in uh was it Jedi Fallen Order. Like she was in that game. That was like, oh, that was cool seeing her there too. I'm like, oh man, that's great. Like Deborah Wilson's getting work being in video games. That's great. Um, and she did a good job. From what I saw of her playing Amanda Waller, she actually she does like a very good job playing Amanda Waller. Um, but like I said, like across the board, oh God, Kevin Conroy, Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, Kevin Conroy, rest in peace. He came he came back to playing the voice of Batman for this game because he played Batman in the Arkham games, and he came back for this. Um, right right before he died, right before Kevin Conroy died. Kevin Conroy died making this game, and he brought it. He did a great job. He did a great job playing playing this version of Batman. Um, and they do a tribute when you beat the story mode. They do a tribute to him. They do kind of like this tribute to him where they have uh not Lois Lane. They have like Vicky Vale. They have Vicky Vale like read this thing that Bruce Wayne wrote to everybody in case he died, and she reads it and then she reads it to everybody over this great recreation of the clip from the Batman the Animated Series in the opening credits. And the opening credits where Batman is standing there in the shadow. His cape is in the wind, and then there's that lightning bolt that strikes down. That says the lightning bolt that comes down, and it's and you can and it lights him for like a second in the opening credits of that. They recreated that. They recreated that using the character models from the Arkham games. And it was like it looks like so cool seeing it. And like as she's reading it, like you can hear she's reading this and she has like tears in her eyes as she's reading it, and it makes me think. I was thinking about that. I'm like, is that acting or was she really tearing up while reading that? You know, it made me wonder. Like, she might have been actually tearing up reading that because they probably all got because everybody on there probably got to know Kevin. They probably got to know Kevin. They probably made friends with him, and it probably hurt like everybody in that studio when he passed. And then it said, and then after she's reading it, it says "Thank you, Kevin" at the end. And I was like, oh, that's okay. That's cool. Because I knew, because if you played the story mode, you know like Harley Quinn shoots Batman in the head. At like then I'm like that can't be how they send him off. That can't be how they send Kevin Conroy off. Having him having like the character he brought to life get shot in the head by Harley Quinn. That can't be how they do it. And I like that they added that little bit at the end. Um, so that was cool of them to do that. Okay. All right. Okay. So as you know, if you beat the story mode, and before you beat the story mode, they introduce the multiverse into the game. When the Suicide Squad travels from their universe to another universe where another Brainiac attacked Earth and he won. But there's a Lex Luthor, but there's a Lex Luthor on that Earth that wants to that's trying to save Earth. And he was apparently he was in communication with the Lex Luthor of this Earth, and they were trying to, and then he was going to help. He was going to help his counterpart stop Brainiac. And again, if you play the story mode, you know that didn't happen. Uh, Flash killed Luthor. And I was like, oh, that sucks. Yeah, because Lex Luthor is a total asshole, but when it comes down to Earth getting destroyed, he will he will put his bullshit aside to help save the planet. He might be doing it for completely self-serving reasons because he doesn't want to get killed, and he knows that like, oh shit, this thing is going to kill me, so I better help. You know, if he could have done something, if he could have like done something that would stop himself from getting killed, but the rest of the world would get destroyed, he'd probably do that. Because again, like he doesn't care about anyone else. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Lex Luthor has ever cared about anybody other than himself, to be honest. Um, Again, if I'm wrong about that, I might be wrong about that. I might be right about it. I don't know. Again, I haven't read a DC comic in like over 5 years, so I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Um, yeah. So they introduced the multiverse, and then at the end of the game, at the end of the story mode, you find out that there are 13 different Brainiacs that need to be taken out. And it's the suicides, and it's now the Suicide Squad's job to take out these Brainiacs. And to fight each Brainiac, you have to you have to do other missions and collect points or whatever to go fight the Brainiacs. Like, I swear to God, I see that and I'm like, that does not fit with what we just saw. Like, that doesn't connect with me. I don't get that. I don't understand what's happening here. Like, this doesn't seem like that was part of the plan. And I thought about that, and then I kept thinking about it. Now here's my theory. Here's the theories part. I think, I believe, don't think, believe. I believe that the two things that happened, the two major things that happened during the development of the game caused them to pivot and do something else with the games, like stuff that two things that were way outside their control. One one being that I already mentioned was the death of Kevin Conroy. I believe that Batman was going to play a much bigger role in this game. I believe the original plan was going to be for them to capture him alive, free him from Brainiac's control, and then have Batman, and then have Batman help the Suicide Squad incapacitate the rest of the league, and then free them, from Brainiac, and then the squad and the league work together to stop Brainiac. I think that's what the original plan was. I think that's what the story. I believe that's what the story was going to be originally. But then Kevin Conroy died. Then I think Kevin Conroy dies. Then they had to change their entire plan because he hadn't done all the lines. He hadn't done all of his lines. He hadn't done all of his lines, or you know, he hadn't done everything yet. So they had, I think what they did, I think what they did was they moved the Batman boss fight to later into the game, near the end. They moved it, and then they had Batman get killed. Like I said, I don't think he was. I don't think he was going to die. I don't think the original plan was to kill the Justice League. I think the original plan was going to be them freeing the Justice League with the help of Batman, and then they all team up and then go after Brainiac. The live service thing was never supposed to happen. That was part of it. The second thing was James Gunn announcing that they were going, and the James Gunn getting a control of the DCEU, and then they got, and then they were, and then him saying that it's going to be the same actors playing the characters across the board, across all mediums, movies, TV shows, animation, and video games. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Suicide Squad's coming out. That what I think what Suicide Squad was originally going to be didn't fit into James Gunn's plan. And I think they were going to cancel the game. I believe I believe James Gunn was going to cancel the game. And if you think about it, it makes sense because Superman and Lois just got canceled because it's not fitting in, because Superman and Lois doesn't fit with James Gunn's plan for the DCEU. So that show got canceled. So many things got canceled. Actors have been there's lots of actors who have been fired from parts, which we're all getting pissed off at. Like, so much stuff. So many people are getting fired. So many people are getting fired. So much stuff is getting canceled. Suicide Squad was probably on the chopping block. So I believe they decided to introduce the multiverse. They introduced the multiverse. So that way, like, okay, wait a minute. So if we, like, here's the multiverse. We introduced the multiverse into this game. That'll put it right next to the DCEU and all the stuff they're doing. And because we have all these actors, and it's like, hey, we have these actors, they can play these parts. They can play these parts, maybe. Deborah Wilson, I'm pretty sure Deborah Wilson is going to show up in a movie as Amanda Waller. Like, I am like 99% sure she's going to show up in a movie as Amanda Waller. Samoa Joe might show up playing King Shark. I think these actors are going to show up. I think this version of the Suicide Squad is going to show up in a movie or a TV show or something. Like, we just got, and then they announce, like, hey, we got a new Joker. I'm like, oh, I bet you that guy's gonna be playing Joker in a movie. This is going to be the Joker in the next movie. Next time we see Joker in a movie that's not Joaquin Phoenix, it's going to be that guy. I bet you. And I think this was the reason for the whole. This was the reason for the multiverse and the live service stuff, so that they could use Suicide Squad. This way they could use Suicide Squad. They can say, oh, this character's from another Earth. This character is going to be in a new. This character is going to be in this movie, but he's here because he's from another Earth. That's what's going to happen. They're using Suicide Squad to introduce all these new characters. I believe that's what happened. And now, okay, and then now it's like, oh, okay, well now since you guys are doing this, okay, this fits. Okay, I can fit this into my plan. You know, that's what James Gunn said. Okay, this fits into the plan now. Suicide Squad, you're coming out. Yeah. Which which I think might have hurt the game. You know, I think that's what hurt the game. And it hurts the game because it hurts the game. It doesn't fit because it was never because they these were all like a late these this was all late additions. These were late additions into the script. They probably had to throw out like a huge chunk of the original script to fit in all this other stuff. And this is what we get. Cause like I look at that and I'm like, this doesn't feel like this was ever supposed to be part of the plan. You know? It's like which also may explain why they're doubling down on the live service stuff. Because this has to keep fitting in to James Gunn's plan. Because the second it doesn't fit anymore, the second that this doesn't fit into his plan, gone. It's gone. Like Superman and Lois. Like Superman and Lois and everything else that's been canceled. You know? Like, ugh. And it sucks. And that sucks because I think we could have gotten I think Suicide Squad could have been a good could have been a great game. But it got fucked up because you know they didn't they didn't want to get their game canceled. You know, they put in all this hard work. They didn't want it to get canceled, and to they were forced to make these huge changes that ultimately hurt the game. And you know, I really hope that's what happened because that they I really hate to think that Rocksteady thought it was a good idea to do a live service game. I do not want to believe. I do not want to believe that they thought that they were looking at gaming the way it is now, and they were like, "Hey, a live service game would be awesome." I really hope that's not what happened. So I really want what I think, what I believe to be true. But I might be wrong. I don't know. I don't think none of us really know what's going on behind the scenes, unless somebody comes out and says this is what happened. Ooh, I really hope I'm. I really hope I'm. I really hope I'm right, but I might not be right. Um. Well, that's pretty much it on Suicide Squad. But I do want to end this video talking about something else. That my Gotham Knights video, the TV show. And I said something, I remember saying in that video that those characters were partially made up for the show because they couldn't afford the rights to the actual characters that they wanted to use. Okay, so I was partially wrong about that. Turns out the girl playing Robin in that show was the Robin from The Dark Knight Returns, the Frank Miller graphic novel. You should all know about that. I'm like, wait a minute. And I remember I was watching a YouTube video and the guy said that, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? I knew that character's name. I should have recognized that's who that character was supposed to be, but that character on that show was nothing like the character from that comic book. And I remember, and I'm like, when I heard that, I'm like, well, that character is that character in name only, because they completely they completely got that character wrong. They didn't write. They did. It's like they like they didn't read that. They didn't read that comic. They didn't read that graphic novel not to get a sense of the character. What they did was they looked through the comic book, got the name and the fact that the character wore those big glasses, and it was like, okay, use that character for the show, and then just like threw everything else out the window. It's like that character. It's like if you didn't, unless you're like a super hardcore DC Batman fan, you would have known who that character was. Like the second she showed up on the screen, like I didn't, and I was like, then when I found out, I'm like, yeah, they got that character all wrong. Which they, which he does, which the guy that I was watching that made the video I was watching explains like how they got this character. This character is supposed to be that character, and this is how they messed up the character. I apologize. I do not remember that character's name, and I think he went through all the characters and was like, yeah, this character is actually the daughter of this character, which this guy is, but they were trying to make him the Riddler. And I was like, oh, that guy was supposed to be the Riddler? I'm like, I didn't get that at all. I'm like, that guy's Quizmaster. I'm like, that's who that is. That's Quizmaster. He was supposed to be the Riddler? Like that? Okay. I'm like, Jesus, this show was worse than I thought it was. Be honest, like that's what I got from that video. Okay, and that's my side rant about that. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video right now. Um, if you see this video and you think, hey, hey, I kind of agree with what you said about Suicide Squad and all that. Like, I agree with what you said. I don't agree with what you said. Okay, let me know in the comments. Hit the like button. Hit the dislike button if you want. Um, and I'll see you later. Man of Lawful. Hopefully my next video won't take however long this took to come out. You know, ideas don't come to me as much as they used to. Man of Lawful. Tell your friends. See you later.